What is going on, YouTube? Bringing you a brand new video today. I'll be reacting to the current match week results, or match day results, sorry, of this midweek fixture list. It is quite different times, and it is that congested part of the fixture list in the Premier League. So lots to get through: the Man City result, the Liverpool result, the Arsenal result, of course, as well. And I'll just be giving my thoughts surrounding those clubs and generally where I am kind of mentally. I like to do these kinds of videos, so do leave a like on the video if you are new, and do sub to the channel, as it would be massively appreciated. But without any further ado, let's get into it. Man City drew with West Brom, and this is where I want to start today before I get to the juicier and more important results. I'll keep it short and sweet. I think Manchester City are in a weird transitional phase at the moment that every club goes through with a long-term manager. Whenever you have a manager for more than 3 seasons, and it's a highly successful club like Manchester City have been in the last decade, in context of England, I think you go through this transitional period where you have the same manager and pretty much the same core team. However, a lot of elements of that team have been dissembled and have kind of moved apart. You think of David Silva, you think of Vincent Kompany, and it's a rebuild phase. It's a rebuild phase. And all I would say about Man City is, like I said when I made the breaking news video of Pep getting the New Year deal, I didn't think Pep Guardiola would still be at Manchester City. I didn't think he'd still be in a job. However, I did think this was an interesting thing to see unfold, because we've never seen Pep Guardiola rebuild a team. And the result against West Brom, talking specifically about the game, I didn't watch it in its entirety, but it seems like Manchester City are very flat. It seems like they've lost the magic, they've lost the stardust. I know those are all arbitrary concepts and very abstract things to say, but genuinely, I feel like they've lost the magic. They don't seem like the same team. They don't seem to have the same level of desire. They seem very burnt out. Tactically, they're not awful, but it feels like they've just been found out. You know, they still dominate games. They still create chances. But, you know, when Aguero isn't firing on all cylinders and De Bruyne isn't doing his thing with the main man Aguero up front, and they're having to rely on a much younger, much more inexperienced Gabriel Jesus at the helm, it is very, 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 very flat for Manchester City. And that's all I've got to say. I'm not going to sit here and hate on Manchester City, because I know there's no Manchester City fans watching. They don't have any real fans anyways. And that's why nobody cares. That's why nobody's talking about the fact that Pep Guardiola has a lower win percentage than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer since the beginning of the year. Nobody cares. Nobody's talking about the fact that Pep Guardiola was actually lower in the table. Pep Guardiola's Man City at some point this season was lower in the table than us, but nobody cared. Everyone was talking about how bad Arsenal and United were, because nobody cares about Man City. So I'm gonna save you guys the trouble of having to listen to me talk about this dead team with its dead fan base and its dead manager, fam. That's all I've got to say about them. If there are any Man City fans, I'm just kidding. Arsenal, another red card. And all I will say, Southampton absolutely bottled it. And I call this, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. I've probably started to annoy all my close friends with my predictions this season. But if you know, you know. I did call this. The prophecy of TripleM is coming true. Southampton are slipping, and they are dropping points. At some point they were at the top of this league, albeit for a brief 2 hours. But now they are slipping. They've lost to the worst team in the league, Arsenal, you know. I know we lost to Arsenal, but still, you know, we're 9th. Southampton were 1st. Levels. You know, Southampton are in a title race. Levels. They're supposed to be beating teams like Arsenal. Unfortunate. But Theo Walcott is an absolute poet to score in the manner that he did. Magnificent chip over the goalkeeper, and a fantastic goal to make it 1-0 before half-time. Arsenal, like Arsenal do, had to go down before they could respond. Arsenal had to be in the mud before they could show that there's something in that team. Aubameyang, it wasn't pretty, it wasn't amazing, it wasn't filled with flair, but it was a goal. And it was in the right end this time. Aubameyang scores his first goal in open play for Arsenal, not against Arsenal, in nearly 3 months since getting his retirement package. So, on a personal level, I'm happy for Aubameyang, because I actually kind of like the player. He's nowhere near one of my favorite players, and like, I don't lose sleep over the fact that Aubameyang hasn't had a good run in the last 3 months. But if there was one player in that Arsenal team that I do like and that I do rate, it is definitely Aubameyang before this last 3 months anyways. So it's good to see that he still has something in the tank and can offer Arsenal something. But I don't know, man. Is a point good enough for Arsenal? Are there any Arsenal fans watching? Is a point good enough? And even if you're not an Arsenal fan, what is your opinion of Arsenal? Let me know in the comments down below, even if it's just a one-liner. Here's my opinion of Arsenal. I think Mikel Arteta is not the solution to your problems, but he is not the biggest problem either. And I just think that if you guys sack Mikel Arteta as of right now, which I wouldn't be massively opposed to, I don't see anything changing at this club long term. I'm being genuinely serious. I think Arsenal at best are a top 6 side. At best. In a miracle season, in a wonder season, maybe top 4. And that's if everybody else around you is crap, which is happening this season anyways. And you guys are still crap. You guys are crap in a crap Premier League season. That's how crap you are. So I don't know. I don't see it with Arsenal. Maybe top 6. Maybe top 6. But I think you need to get rid of at least 15 out of your current 25 players and get 15 new ones, fam. I'm genuinely being serious. And there's problems upstairs in the Arsenal Football Club that go beyond Mikel Arteta, that were there before he even got there. There's problems that have been existing at this club that were there before even Wenger left. Much like United, there were problems when Sir Alex Ferguson was still winning titles, but they got exposed when he left because the titles weren't there to blind and paper over the cracks. So it's the same with Mikel Arteta. There were problems that existed before Mikel Arteta took over the job, and those problems have been compounded by the fact that he's an inexperienced manager who ultimately I think would have been fine in a head coaching role, but has now had to take over the role of management. And the difference between those two things is probably massive in context of the club we're talking about, simply because Arsenal have a lot of holes in the executive portion of their club. They have a lot of holes. They recently did sign a director of football, which is a great appointment, and I wish United signed a director of football as a United fan. But there's a lot of holes at that club that I can't even begin to imagine or articulate properly, because I don't study the history of Arsenal Football Club and I don't know them as well as I know my own club. But I can confidently say that there must be more going on behind the scenes. I mean, here's something before we move on to the Liverpool result. Here's another thing. David Luiz apparently is not in speaking terms with Mikel Arteta. David Luiz, a lot of you will be laughing, like David Luiz, he's a clown this, he's a clown that, but he is one of their most experienced players. He is one of their most accomplished players. If one of your most experienced players, a player who's supposed to be a role model and a sort of father figure in the club, is not speaking to the manager, what does that say about your club? I don't know, but we move, and apparently the performance by Arsenal wasn't that great. Apparently they were a little bit better in the second half, but it wasn't that great as a whole. And of course they got the red card. Of course Gabriel Magalhaes gets sent off. It's just hilarious. He gets sent off for kicking someone 40 or 50 yards away from the goal, like on the freaking halfway line, fam. Like, that's unacceptable. Like that, how is that Mikel Arteta's fault? How is what Xhaka did last week Mikel Arteta's fault? How is what David Luiz did, last year Mikel Arteta's fault? How are these red cards supposed to be stopped by the manager? I suppose a lot of people could say that Mikel Arteta is selecting these players, and I agree with you because I've said the same thing. Mikel Arteta shouldn't be selecting some of these players, but at the same time, these players have been there. They've done that, and I get it, okay? I get it. You can't play the youth because the youth aren't going to really get you to where you want to go. So it's a catch-22. You play the youth, you're still going to suck. You play these experienced players who are supposedly better than the youth, you're still going to suck. It's a catch-22, I get it. And you don't want to be throwing younger players into the mix of things unfairly and throwing their career under the bus just to save your job. But anyways, moving on from Arsenal. I genuinely feel sorry if there's any Arsenal fans watching. Like, this is not meant to be a banter video. Moving on. Tottenham steal it from Spurs in dramatic fashion. And I'm just going to say about Liverpool what I've said on this channel all along. They are top of the table now, so it's not a myth, it's not a prediction, it's not an opinion. It is a fact. They are top of the table and they do not have Virgil van Dijk. Period. How can Liverpool not get stronger when Van Dijk comes back? How can Liverpool not get stronger if they sign in January? How can Liverpool not get stronger when they have one of the best signings, in my opinion, in Diego Jota? I feel like Timo Werner and Havertz haven't quite revolutionized the Chelsea attack the way that some people imagined they would, mainly because Werner's not really playing his position down the middle. He's playing on the left wing, and he's not quite the complete left winger or the player that Chelsea really need at the moment. And although Giroud has been magnificent through the middle, when I compare him with Diego Jota is actually allowed to play in his primary position, which is to be a number 9. And he is everything Roberto Firmino is not. Now, Firmino did score yesterday, and Firmino was the reason that Liverpool won yesterday, along with Mo Salah. But I'm just saying, the fact that they didn't even need Jota as much yesterday says it all about Liverpool. And that's why I think Jota's such a good signing, because if something were to happen to Firmino, I still think Liverpool can win games like that. Yes, Firmino's link-up play and hold-up was instrumental yesterday. He did drive the ball forward a lot, which is something that Jota might not be able to do as well. I agree. But the point is, Liverpool can create in more than one way. They don't need Firmino to just be the hold-up man all the time. They can play with a cross. You know, they can play a slower, more possession-based build-up. They can rely on other players such as Mane, such as Salah, such as Wijnaldum, everyone else in that midfield doing the bulk of the work. And that's the thing about Liverpool. Squad depth. Squad depth. Squad depth. Jones, another player that a lot of people would not have known about had the injury crisis at Liverpool not been this bad. Holding his own. Holding his own. You know, Williams in the back. Fabinho playing centre-back as well. Holding their own. Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, same old, same old. They're not as amazing as they were last season, but they're good enough in the system that doesn't rely on individual brilliance. A system that doesn't rely on one man or one player, but rather a continuous pattern of play that can break down some of the best teams in Europe. And boy, oh boy, did they give Tottenham a lot of trouble. I think Liverpool definitely deserved to win that game. I say steal, and really that's the wrong adjective to describe their performance, because they really did dominate that game in parts. And, well, as for Jose Mourinho's men, Kane, Son getting on the board, of course, with the goal. Who else but Sonaldo? Who else but Capri Son to score? But yeah, I don't know. For Spurs, for me, Harry Kane injury season is coming. And Son is not going to stay fit for the entire season, or he's going to get a red card. One of the two. Either that, or he's just not going to play well. I don't think Spurs can rely on Son every single game. He's a magnificent player. But to put the hopes and dreams, the title hopes, in the hands of Son, for me, is very, 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 very unfair. And it's very, very, very naive. And tactically, I don't think Spurs were terrible. I don't think Spurs were bad. I don't think Spurs were awful. I just think Liverpool was marginally the better side, and it's reflected in the scoreline. I think Spurs on another day could have won that game. I think if Liverpool and Spurs had to play each other 10 times in a 10-game series at a neutral venue, Spurs would actually surprise a lot of people. But it's not a 10-game series. It's a league, and you only get 2 games against every given opposition. And they've lost the first one against Liverpool. I don't see how Spurs make a title charge beyond this, but hey, I'm not going to be hyperbolic. It's only 3 points. Anyways, I did hope you enjoyed that video. It was a different style for me. I like these sort of reaction videos and actually talking about results, and it would be nice to get some feedback. It would be nice to get some engagement from the people who watch these videos, the lurkers, the freeloading frauds who do not leave a like on the video. Let me know why. What would you like me to change? What would you like me to talk about? Which videos do you actually enjoy on this channel? Some positive and constructive criticism is welcome. But this is the longest video I've done in a while, and I hope you did enjoy it. But it's been your boy TripleM, and peace out.